after that day of practice, it was just tradition that he drove home. But he had been up since 6:30, and I didn't know, that he was tired. I'm just sitting there messing up with my phone, and that's all I really remember. And then obviously, he falls asleep, and we get in a bad accident.
My phone rings, and it's my son, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? He's like, Mom, we were in a really bad accident. I'm like, are you okay? What about Dad? And he's like, I'm okay, but Dad's not. I got to the scene of the accident before they even pulled my husband out of the car. And they had to use jaws of life to get Greg out of the car. And I think I just was in a shock. And my son and I, we were able to run up to the stretcher. And I said, you don't give up on us, Pisco. I said, you fight.
He was transferred to our facility for level of care because of the complexity of his injuries. My initial impression was it was a very severe situation. This is a CT scan of Mr. Piscopink's pelvic injury. So he had a crack that went through here. There was a broken piece back here. You can see the fracture here that was broken into several pieces, one here, one there, one there. Here's the first bone of the ankle, the talus. This is dislocated out of the socket. This part of it right here actually needs to line up with that bone. And then he dislocated some other parts of his foot. This was his right femur fracture, so here's the ball. Socket's up here, which was broken. And then here's his thigh, and you get down here and you can see there's a break here. Here's the tibia, the shin bone. You can see here it's broken up into multiple pieces. His fibula has a crack that goes across there. There's multiple cracks that were going through the knee joint.
First thing I remember is, dealing with some of the doctors over there and just being like in shock that what had happened and that I was okay. I couldn't even roll over on one side of my body for a long time, and when I could roll over the next side, I was excited about that. I did the rehab that I could do, which wasn't even standing up at that point. And that's how far it came. I've just learned to fight through it and just keep going.
My husband is the biggest fighter. He's the toughest man I've ever come across in my whole entire life. And I just knew that he loved his family, he loved his kids, he loves his students, he loves his players. I knew that he would not go out without a fight, and he was going to fight for his life.
Keeping that positive attitude and that drive to keep moving forward and get back to normal, which is our goal as orthopedic surgeons, is to get people and restore their function to where it was before their injury.
He played a very big role in saving my life, and so I truly appreciate him for that. And just, that's something that, like I said, can be taken for granted from some people, is that like doctors in general do incredible things. Well, he did some awesome things. He's a great guy, and it just makes me real happy that somebody had the skill to be able to deal with me, because I was in really rough shape, so I love it.
I had a Humpty Dumpty, and he needed to be put back together, and they put him back together. And he had a 1% survival rate, a 1% chance of living. And those doctors put him back together knowing that he probably was going to die.
I think the biggest thing when it comes to that type of the injuries that he sustained is the multidisciplinary care that we bring. The relationships we have with our vascular surgeons, our neurosurgeons, our acute care surgeons, our ICU teams. The relationships that all of our teams come together and collaborate to take care of these patients is what really separates us from going to other places.
And a lot of times, people say you're lucky to be alive, and I've probably said that to people, and that's, just saying it. But you could tell that people, when they said it to me, really meant that I was lucky to be alive, and that's, something that hits you deep in your heart,
It's been my worst nightmare, but again, his life was saved by Henry Ford, and because he's a fighter.
You hear that a lot of times, that it could end instantly. And now I know that, and so now I try to take advantage of every moment that I have alive.